In a small, sun-drenched village nestled beside the whispering reeds of the Niger Delta, lived a young girl named Ifiok. Her name meant wisdom, but at 10 years old, Ifiok carried a burden heavier than her small frame. Her younger brother, Ekemini, meaning God's will, had been struck by a mysterious illness. His laughter, once as bright as the morning sun, was now a faint whisper, his eyes clouded with a deep sadness. The village healer had tried all her remedies, potent herbs brewed under the full moon, whispered incantations carried on the river breeze. But Ekemini grew weaker each day, his small hand clutching Ifiok's with a desperate grip. Their mother's eyes held a constant sheen of unshed tears, and their father's strong shoulders seemed to slump with each passing sunset. Ifiok refused to accept this slow fading of her brother's light. She remembered the old stories her grandmother used to tell, tales of the Abia Ibom, the deep forest spirits, and their hidden powers. One story, whispered only in hushed tones, spoke of a mythical flower that bloomed only under the rarest of celestial alignments. A flower said to hold the cure for any ailment. Driven by a love that burned brighter than any village fire, Ifiok decided to seek this flower. She knew the dangers of the deep forest, the tangled paths, the watchful eyes of unseen creatures, the deceptive whispers of the wind. But the thought of Ekemini's fading smile propelled her forward. Early one morning, before the village stirred, Ifiok slipped away. She carried a small woven basket with roasted plantains and a flask of water. The forest embraced her with its humid breath and the symphony of unseen life. Sunlight dappled through the dense canopy, creating an ethereal glow, but shadows lurked in every corner. Days blurred into a tiring journey. Thorns snagged at her clothes, and the buzzing of insects was a constant companion. Fear gnawed at her, but the image of Ekemini's frail face kept her going. She listened intently to the sounds of the forest, remembering her grandmother's lessons on how to read the rustling leaves and the calls of the birds. One evening, as the moon hung like a silver sickle in the inky sky, she stumbled upon a hidden clearing. In the center, bathed in an otherworldly luminescence, bloomed a single flower. Its petals shimmered with all the colors of a rainbow, and a soft, sweet fragrance filled the air. It was the flower from the legends. Tears welled up in Ifiok's eyes, relief, exhaustion, and a surge of hope washing over her. As she reached for the flower, a low growl echoed from the edge of the clearing. Two glowing eyes pierced the darkness. A leopard, its sleek form barely visible in the shadows, stood guarding the precious bloom. Fear threatened to paralyze Ifiok, but she knew she couldn't turn back. She remembered another of her grandmother's stories, one about courage found not in strength, but in kindness. Slowly, she reached into her basket and pulled out a piece of the roasted plantain, placing it gently on the ground between herself and the creature. The leopard watched her with wary eyes. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then slowly, cautiously, it approached the offering and sniffed at it. It took a small bite, its gaze never leaving Ifiok. With trembling hands, Ifiok reached for the flower. This time, the leopard did not move. It seemed to sense her pure intention, the desperate love that had driven her this far. Clutching the luminous flower, Ifiok turned and ran, the image of the majestic creature etched in her mind. The journey back to the village felt shorter, fueled by adrenaline and the precious cargo she carried. She arrived as dawn painted the sky in hues of orange and pink. Her parents rushed to her, their faces etched with worry that turned to astonishment as they saw the flower. The village healer, her eyes wide with wonder, carefully prepared a poultice from its petals. Days later, a faint but real laugh echoed through Ifiok's hut. Ekemini's eyes held a spark of their old brightness. He was weak, but the color had returned to his cheeks. Slowly, painstakingly, he began to heal. The village rejoiced. Ifiok, the small girl who dared to venture into the deep forest guided by love, had brought back a miracle. The story of the flower and the girl who befriended the leopard became another whispered legend, a testament to the enduring power of a sister's love and the unexpected kindness that can bloom even in the darkest of places. It reminded them that true wisdom wasn't just in knowing the old ways, but in the courage to forge a new path with a heart full of hope.